Good afternoon and welcome to the ASEAN Midday Market Watch. Our guest today is Kelvin Wong, market strategist at CMC Markets. Good afternoon, Kelvin. How's it going?
Hey, hi. Good afternoon, Brian. So far, so good. Yeah.
Now, Kelvin, before we get your insights, let's take a look at how markets in the region are performing right now. Now, we've got the SGX at 3,161.73. It's up 0.26%. Bursa Malaysia is at 1,564. It's down 0.71%. The Nikkei is open today after the holidays, 29,317. It's up sharply, 1.75%. Shanghai Composite also reopened today, 3,439.12. It's down slightly, 0.22%. The Hang Seng is at 28,466.89. It's up 0.17%. ASX 200 is at 7,048.6. It's down 0.67%. And rounding up the numbers, we've got the Kospi, which is at 3,162.83. It's up 0.51%. Kelvin, what's your view on how markets have been performing?
Okay, so let's start off with the overnight US markets first. So what we could see is still playing out this kind of a cyclicals and value outperformance play as we head into, as we are still in Q2 and heading up next into the second half of this year. So if you look at yesterday's key performance of the US major stock indices, the Dow Jones had managed to actually close a fresh record high, 0.3%. So it closed at 34,230. So all this has been supported by very strong outperformance on the energy space. The energy sector is up 3%, then followed by the materials up 1.32%, and financials up 0.94%. So if you could look at the way the sector that is currently outperforming right now, in fact, it started to actually outperform since the start of Q2. We are now starting to see a bit of very clear sign of inflationary back play or team play into the markets. That means, i.e., we're talking about stocks that are benefiting from higher inflationary pressures. So if we talk about oil price, then we talk about various base commodities like copper, iron ore. So it tend to benefit this particular energy and material stocks. Then last but not least is the financials. Financial actually due to this kind of a upward sloping long-dated government treasury yield curve that is being seen across the board. So what's actually being hit right now is actually the underperformance of technology and growth stocks, which we believe that it's going to persist for the rest of Q2. So example, you look at the Nasdaq 100 is actually down 0.3% at 13,502, still refusing to have a clear bullish breakout of an intermediate resistance at 14,040 level.
Now, Kelvin, we're going to have a lot of data coming out today and tomorrow as well. It's been a very data-heavy week. One of the things the market is looking for direction is really Bank of England monetary policy direction, which is out later today. What are the market expectations and where do you see the impact on the US dollar pound cross?
Yeah, because if you could look at, maybe let's recap 2 weeks ago. So 2 weeks ago, we have one of the, I would say the developed nation monetary policy meeting outcome, which is the Bank of Canada. So surprisingly, they are the first developed central bank that actually very vocally spoken that, hey, currently we are now ready to actually temper our quantitative easing program. Okay, versus the Fed, which is still pretty much dovish, as you could see that the last meeting, Powell still kind of downplay inflationary pressure as temporary. All right.
But so Yellen in the last couple of days has kind of changed the narrative slightly and said, hey, there are inflationary pressures right now.
Correct. So that I think she actually kind of is, maybe we don't know whether it's a slip of the tongue or whatever. She actually took back a bit of a comment yesterday and even last night, saying that the Fed, she's not saying that the Fed should rise rate, but that's more of a political issue then. So, but what now, back to Bank of England. So what we could see that, well, market seems to be pricing in a bit of hawkish stance, but lesser than what of the Bank of Canada take 2 weeks ago. So at the moment, right, if you look at the BOE target, the QE target of bond purchases for this year is at 150 billion. So right now they're actually buying close about 4.4 billion per week. So given that we start to see a bit of improvement on the UK economy, one of the improvement will be the job openings. So UK job openings, right, has increased by 16% last month, which is April.
Okay.
And also, if you look at the latest government stance from PM Boris, that he actually intending to actually reopen the UK economy in June this year. That means after we start to see an uplift in vaccination rate. So all this, right, could actually paint a more rosy picture outlook of the UK economy. So there is actually a possibility right now saying that the number of bond purchases that is undertaken by BOE at this moment in time, it may actually slow down to actually 3.2 billion per week. All right, but that's kind of really priced into the market. So if you look at the sterling dollar, it has been pretty much resilient, hovering above a kind of a short-term key support at around 37, pardon me, 37 figure level. That's 1.37, 1.38, 1.37 against the dollar. So I'm looking at this, a very key technical level, which is the 1.40 level, is actually the neckline resistance of a short-term basing formation that has taken shape since early April last month. All right. So if we start to see a clear breakout of this level, it could take us higher towards this 1.4380 level. So that is in fact a major resistance, which we call a very, very long-term multi-year double top neckline resistance that has been basing since the low of October 2016.
Now, Kelvin, I want to then talk about the Aussie dollar because that's under pressure
Yes.
right now because of geopolitical tension between China and Australia. China's state planners have suspended all activities under the China-Australia Strategic Economic Dialogue. So what should we read into this and how is it going to impact Australia?
Okay, so as perhaps maybe we're talking about maybe in the short term first. So for the short term, right, definitely we'll see a bit of pressure on Australia commodities related mining company or commodity related company, like for example Rio Tinto, Fortescue Metal, these two companies that actually kind of significant exports to China. But if you look at the share prices of this company right now, they're actually not really that negatively impacted yet because they're still riding on the kind of a cocktails of a global demand surge or global
We have
yeah,
a super cycle of
yes.
commodities right now.
Yeah, so they're kind of overriding this kind of a geopolitical tension between China, and in fact, it's actually China with the rest of the world. So Australia is kind of being dragged in at this moment in time. So this, I suspect over here is that this could become more apparent or more significant when we reach the second half of this year, where markets will start to actually focus on this geopolitical tension. Because at this moment in time, markets are still talking about, hey, what is the situation right now in terms of the global vaccination rate that's been seen across the board?
Right.
Is global economy recovering from last year pandemic hit? That's triggered by the pandemic hit due to this we call it a drastic downturn, and market is also kind of being focused on the massive fiscal stimulus undertaken by this the new US administration. So after more or less this dust has been settled down, what's new to the market will be this ongoing geopolitical tension. So in fact, right, early this morning, there's this conclusion of this G7 foreign minister meeting. They actually kind of released a communicate a statement to actually kind of rebutted China on its ongoing bullying techniques in terms of its economic using its economic strategy against the rest of the world. So they didn't actually make it very bluntly, but it seems to be setting the stage out for a fight between China and the rest of the G7 going into the second half of this year. So that investors and traders should actually keep a close eyes and keep a close ears to actually keep a lookout on that.
Now, Kelvin, thank you very much for your insights, particularly on the US, the UK and Australian economies.
Thank you, Brian. Yeah.
Now, we've been speaking to Kelvin Wong, market strategist at CMC Markets on BizTech's ASEAN Midday Market Watch. I'm Brian Fernandez. Check out www.biztech.asia for business and technology conversations. Please subscribe and like our Facebook and LinkedIn pages. Thank you very much for tuning in.